Hey, my name is Nikko. I'm the executive chef at Lux Appliance Studio, and today we're cooking with Food Life. Today we're going to be making a pumpkin cupcake, and it's a very simple recipe. I've actually substituted this recipe, which traditionally takes yogurt, and we're actually using a pumpkin puree that's going to give it that pumpkin flavor. We also have some spices, and then we're going to top that with an espresso whipped cream that I've already pre-made in the fridge, keeping it cool for when we're ready to decorate. Okay, so first things first, I have a stand-up mixer here, which is going to be your best tool when we're preparing this recipe. But yeah, to start this recipe, basically we have equal parts butter that's at room temperature with equal parts sugar, caster sugar to be specific. And basically we want to whip the two ingredients together until the butter and sugar are smooth and there's not too much granular sugar left over. So using your whisk attachment is going to be our first tool in this entire process. Locking everything in. Let's bring the bowl up so that the whisk touches the bottom of the bowl. And then we're gonna set this on a relatively medium-high speed. Initially get the butter whipped, and then we're gonna start adding in our next ingredient. Now I just wanna point out during this process, it is very important to have a silicone spatula on hand. And the reason being is because typically halfway through your mixing processes, you're gonna want to remove your bowl from your mixer and make sure that you remove all the butter off the side of the walls. This will just basically make sure or ensure that you don't have clumps of butter stuck in your cupcakes. Give you a better result when we go into actually baking the cupcakes. Again, just getting the butter off the wall. As you can see, nice and whipped, okay? There's not a lot of chunks in there, which is what I want. Next process that we're going to be doing is actually adding in our eggs. These have been sitting out at room temperature for roughly about 20 or 30 minutes, just taking the chill off them. There's a little trick that comes in with this process, which is when we add our eggs, we want to do them one at a time. We want to allow the egg to fully incorporate before we add the next one. We're going to basically do this on a lower speed because we don't want the egg flying all over the place. So right about there is good. If you guys have a number dial on yours, I'm on 3. You might have a speed which is probably closer to a slow. Okay, first egg goes in. Now we're gonna add our last egg. Just be very careful while you're doing this, obviously, because the whisk is moving and you don't wanna get your fingers caught in any of that. Okay, now that our eggs are in, we can jack up the speed a little bit faster. Okay, so we're there. Just to give you an idea of where we're at in terms of look. With our butter and egg mixture, okay, it looks like everything is incorporated. We have a couple small little chunks of butter in there, but that's fine. As we whisk in the flour and the rest of the ingredients, that will help to incorporate the butter with the egg a little bit more. So our next process is we're gonna add in our flour. I've used a pastry flour, which already has equal parts baking powder and baking soda. You can use this if you want. You can also do the measurements yourself. I just find this a little bit easier. Takes a little bit less time in terms of your preparation. Bring our bowl back up. Now, because we have the flour in, it's a dry ingredient, we want to make sure that we whisk it slow to start until it starts to incorporate. And then once it starts to incorporate, you can bring it up in terms of speed. Okay. Again, just for a point of reference. So as you can tell, before it was a little bit chunky, and now because the flour is in there, it's actually gone velvety smooth, which is exactly what we're looking for. The next ingredient that we're adding is actually the pumpkin puree. We can actually do this in 2 parts. We're gonna do the pumpkin puree, and then we're also gonna add in our spices, because we're basically at the finish line right here in terms of our prepping process. We have the pumpkin puree added into our mix. We also have our spices on standby. We have a teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of cloves, and we also have a teaspoon of ground ginger. And we also have a pinch of salt. Salt will kind of help balance out the sweet and salty, kind of brings out another addition to this whole dish. So get that all in there, just like that. Step and repeat. And here we go. Now, obviously you guys can't smell through the camera, but there's a lot of flavor and smells that are coming through the mixing bowl right now, which is the pumpkin for sure. I'm definitely getting hits of ginger and cinnamon in this bowl right now, which is gonna really perfume nicely when we actually put it into the oven, and those aromas actually start to cook out within the pastry itself. Last step is just take your whisk, kind of give everything a little bit of a mix. You don't need to put this back on the mix stand because I'm confident that we've fully incorporated everything, which it looks good. Okay, just to give you another point of reference, right? So from there, you have all your ingredients inside your bowl, and we're basically ready at this point to start portioning out into our little muffin trays. Another little quick tip is if you use an ice cream scoop, this actually helps even out all your portions when we go into putting them in our muffin tray, which in turn will give you a even result when we go into baking. So if you're looking to impress all your friends, this is a simple little way that you can make sure that all your muffins look relatively similar. And it's a little bit less of a mess as well, as you can tell. Not getting any of that batter all over the place. Okay, so we got our 6 trays. We're gonna bring this over to the Bosch Speed Microwave Convection Oven, and we're gonna cook it for 15 minutes at 350, and we will be right back. Okay, so we are here at the Bosch Speed Convection Oven. One of my favorite tools actually to use on the go when I'm cooking in the kitchen. Reason being is it gives you all the benefits of a microwave, but it also still acts as your regular convection oven. So really beneficial for those people at home that are looking for a second oven but don't want a full-size oven. Also looking for that microwave combo where you can still utilize the microwave to reheat food from the night before within about 3 to 4 minutes, depending on what you're cooking. We got our cupcakes here, so basically all I'm gonna be doing, sliding it into the rack. Try to get it somewhere in the middle, and then close your door. We're gonna be setting a timer on here. So we have kitchen timer right here as our option. We're gonna set it for 15 minutes, and then we are gonna press kitchen timer again. That will start in 15 minutes. When it beeps, we will come back and you will see how beautiful these cupcakes are. All right, we're back. Camera magic, 15 minutes is up, the timer just went off. Cupcakes look fantastic. What I want you guys to notice quickly as I pull these guys out is the evenness between all the cupcakes looks very nice, okay? Any bakers at home that are looking to get really nice even consistency through their baking process, even the Speed Microwave Convection Oven by Bosch will give you that when you go into your baking processes, okay? So we're gonna bring these over, we're gonna allow them to cool for roughly about 8 to 10 minutes, and then we'll apply our whipped cream and you'll see the finished product. Here we go. Our next process in this is to remove the cakes from the cupcake tray. We're gonna place them on a rack, let them cool for roughly 8 to 10 minutes, and that will ensure that when we put the icing on top, or our whipped cream in this case, it won't actually just slide off our cupcake. Really important to make sure that they're at room temperature, okay? And then in terms of decorating, when we were applying your whipped cream, I always kind of just start at the outside. And that, my friends, is your spiced pumpkin cupcake with espresso whipped cream.